Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the CCS Championships round of 64. I'm back with co-host Wolfie 200. It's number 7 Drexel, the Dragon, or number 7 Texas Tech, sorry, taking on number 10 Drexel here in the Midwest region, opening round of 64. Winner go home, survive in advance, Wolfie. It's that time of year. It's one and done.
Yeah, this is it. This is everything that you've been working for this season. Both these two teams looking to come out with a lot of energy, and Nation, we're both from Texas, looking at Texas Tech tonight, but it's a tough matchup. These are two teams that know what success feels like, and they want to be able to say, we're moving on to next week.
Well, Drexel's a Final Four a couple seasons ago, so they've had a couple deep runs. This is Texas Tech's first ever all-time appearance in the tournament, Wolfie, so they've got a lot of ground ahead of them here, and Drexel's no easy feat as a 10 seed.
And I have my little Texas right here. It's close to my heart because this is where I feel this team's going to come out. But come and take it. Can Texas Tech be able to stand their ground here tonight? And I think the boys there from Houston are going to be able to come in and try to be one of those teams that we have to be able to take down the best, be the best, and this is one of those games you can show it.
Absolutely, as Texas Tech from Lubbock, Texas, takes on Drexel from just outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We're underway in Game 1.
Well, game number 1, this is where in the series like this, you want to allow for a lot of confidence to come in. Allow yourself to get a quick lead, a quick bucket, and then see your offense continue to roll.
Having a chance. Will be jerked. 1-0, it's saved.
And what a job there, the defense right now. You see them just being able to hunker down. And, we talked a little bit about that first goal. If Drexel can come in and light the scoreboard up and try to put Texas Tech on their back heels, we'll have to see if Texas Tech has enough ammo in those guns to be able to come through. But that one, not a blank, full ammunition. Texas Tech find themselves on the board.
I thought Drexel was going to fire the first one, Wolfie. That saved, though, with 2 defenders marking off a chance to transition. They get it done in transition offense, 1-0 early on for the Red Raiders.
And this is where this team is trying to say, hey, let's throw tortillas onto the field. Let's try to get some energy going. And a first goal certainly does that right now. But you can't wait on your morals. Allow for that offense to continue going. A beautiful pinch off the backboard. Won't be able to get the second tap off the backboard. But this is where Texas Tech, they're having a lot of offense starting to get generated.
4:08 left to go. Kevin on the wing here on the left side over one. He's bumped off, and Texas Tech doing a good job early of applying physical pressure, Wolfie, and they're getting a lot of demos and bumps and creating stress in the midfield, which gives a lot of pressure put on the Drexel defense in transition. So Texas Tech is doing all the good things early. If they can keep it up, they're in business.
Well, and this is where you don't want to overextend right now. Knowing you have this lead and just trying to stay comfortable in this position, exactly where Texas Tech wants to go. But they're doing a great job of keeping Drexel uncomfortable. Drexel hasn't had too many offensive attacks where they felt that they were really gaining on them. We'll see if things change as this game goes on.
3:30 left to play is Wilds. Into the backboard, has some help. Bramble fires. It's weak there. Zerp off the clear. And a minute 30 off the clock, Wolfie. The Dragons still at nil right now. Syrup looking for something. Couldn't get it to fall, and Bramble will cover for now. 2 minutes almost off the clock. And Wolfie, we're about halfway through. What are your thoughts early on here?
Well, Texas Tech continue having to be fireproof right now. And, against Drexel, they've done a good job of having the extinguisher and saying, hey, you're not going to get past us. We're going to continue keeping them on your side of the half. And, when we have times to punish, when we have times to just continue on the aggression, we need to be there. But the second goal has to come sooner than later.
And it does. And, Texas Tech can open up a 2-0 or 3-0 lead here, or a 3-1 lead even at 2. I mean, that builds a lot of momentum and a lot of pressure put back on Drexel to make a mistake in the latter half of the second half here. But, they're playing from behind. They're going to have to take a risk at some point. If Texas Tech can, take out the good from the risk and score off it, they're in business again. And right now in Game 1, they had a pretty good first half. We'll see if they can close it out.
Well, and that's kind of what you want to see. In Game 1, you're allowing yourself to just dip your toe into the water. And right now for Drexel, it's not where you panic. It's just say, hey, we just got to refocus, re-aim, and see if we can just outshoot Texas Tech right now. But, the Red Raiders, this team's coming in hot. They're trying to take game number 1. It's like, it's not a steal. We earned it. It's a lot of movement there into the corner, too, with no boost. Can Drexel continue on? But that one will just get cut out.
Drexel was sent home in the round of 32 last season to number 6 Pittsburgh. They'll survive on the goal line there. 2-minute warning in Game 1. Still a 1-0 lead. And Wolfie, Drexel nearly stole 1-all.
I'm not too sure what happened there, if it was just a teammate save or just went off the side, but that was prime position to tie things up. That's where you're saying, hey, we go next, we put that into the memory bank, but this is where we have to execute. You see the bump there, almost, but not able. Drexel, they're trying to get aggressive, but then hopefully they don't get too desperate.
Drexel coming off a stunning upset last season, the opening round, and upset in the conference semifinal for the first time ever in program history, as early as an exit as that semifinal against UNC Wilmington, who won the conference tournament. A minute 20 though to go. They're down by 1. We'll see if they have any late efforts here.
Well, it has to come, and to be able, you don't want to go to OT right now against Drexel. If Drexel finds a way to push this into the latter half, it might be there for the boys in yellow, but Wilds, wild and out, has a lead blocker there in front of him. Quick demo, quick goal, puts us at 2-0.
I talked to Wilds at the beginning of this season prior to the opening night, and he told me, their expectations coming in were obviously to compete at a high level in the Big 12 and do well in the conference tournament, and their end goal was to make the championships. Well, that is goal succeeded, but how far of a run can the Red Raiders go on?
Well, they're going to have to go far. They're going to have to allow themselves to not get put into a position. If you can find a way to keep the goose egg on the board and keep Drexel at 0, you put a little bit more doubt into that half and that side. But, for Texas Tech, we've seen their program all over start to take shine from football to baseball, but this is where you're saying the Rocket League team, we're on the up, we're up next, but we need to be able to close out this game. There's Bramble just watching back. Wilds unable to get too much as this one will just loft in. You said it, Nation. 30 seconds remaining. Texas Tech trying to run away with it.
20 to go here in the last season. Pittsburgh, number 6, put number 3 Drexel in an 0-3 hole. And Drexel forced a game 7 and fell just short. But Texas Tech now trying to get it done in game 1. They're up by 2. This one should tick down, Wolfie. But what a first game here for Texas Tech.
And this is the type of game you want to come in. Allow yourself to dominate the first half. And then when you need it the most in the second, find 2 goals. But Bramble finding ways to find one at all zeros. Texas Tech, and this one 3-0.
Not a bad game at all. Again, Drexel as a 10 seed is, that's a scary pool as a 7 seed here for Texas Tech. And when the bracket was made, again, seeing Drexel on the 10 line was scary for whatever 7 seed had to play on, and that unfortunately happens to be Texas Tech, but they get the job done in game 1. We'll see if they continue on with a good note in game 2 as a shutout. 3-0 your final.
Well, and this is now where everybody on the side of Texas Tech, they all had a goal to their name, and to be able to come in 8 shots at 9 saves, they're working vigilantly right now, and it seems that everything has a reason why on how they've been able to attack. We'll see what they come out right now, but this is where Drexel, you got to say, hey, game 1 never happened. Let's allow ourselves to readjust and tie up the series.
Midwest region opening round. Texas Tech, your 7th seed. Drexel, the 10th seed. We got a game crash here. Looks like as while we're sitting and waiting, the winner of this set to play either number 2 Purdue or number 15 UC Santa Barbara next Friday.
Well, this is where I feel for both these two teams. You want to get out of this series as quick as possible. You want to know what that matchup next week potentially looks like. Drexel, from here on in, you cannot make this interesting. If you're a Texas Tech fan, this is where Texas Tech in game number 2, they need to allow themselves to take this one. You take this one, you're in the lead and control of your destiny for the rest of this series. But game 2, 5 minutes here. Texas Tech trying to go 2-0, but can Drexel tie things up?
4:59 to go. Bramble and company start off game 2 hot. Wolfie, there's an opportunity. It's taken wide right, and a shutout is a great effort in game 1, but can Texas Tech keep up the pace and the pressure applied to Drexel in game 1? That's going to be a tale as old as time, as Drexel is again. They got a Final Four in the Elite 8 the last year, CCS, an early exit in the round of 32 last season. They want to forget about that, move forward here with a new era. In year 3 of CCS, can the Dragons get it done?
Well, this is where for the Dragons, when you've been here before, you know what the stage looks like, and you know what the environment, the lights aren't as bright as you would hope them to be, and that's kind of what you need. You need that veteran experience, but for Texas Tech, it's a team that's hungry. They want this win, and I always say, if someone waking up to prove something every day is a dangerous player, and Texas Tech trying to show that.
That they are, and again, this is their first ever tournament game as well. First appearance ever for the Red Raiders, and they've come out swinging early. That's a good sign for what's to come for the Red Raiders, and obviously whoever wins this will likely play Purdue, and that's a tall order in the second round next Friday with Drexel trying to find an opportunity, but the Red Raider defense right there to play defense, and again, clear to harm's way. The defense holding up quite well so far in the opening minute 15.
Well, Nation, that's kind of the beauty of CCS, is that it gets harder every week. You can't have an off week now that you're in the top 64. You're playing against the best here in the nation. You need to find ways to get it done. Texas Tech need to get through Drexel, and this is one where you have to say it can't be too much of a struggle. And I feel for both these two teams, that's the same case.
Yeah, absolutely. 3:26 to go to double from Zerf, 1-0.
Well, this is where Drexel, looking for that first goal, come in and get it done here with 3:24 remaining. Great job. Your defense was able to hold up. You did a great job maintaining Texas Tech right now. There's still a lot of time left on the board here for the Red Raiders.
3:24 left to go. Texas Tech trailing 1 here. We'll see how they, adjust to adversity, as they led the entirety of game 1, so this is now their first time playing from behind. As Drexel, again, we know how lethal this offense can be. And they're a tall order to have to deal with. But Texas Tech, again, not a bad job so far. We'll be through 7 minutes. I mean, again, they're down here, but they had a really good game 1, and things are still looking quite good here in game 2.
You said it. It's hard to keep a great offense team like Drexel out for 7 minutes without a goal. That's almost impossible. But they're trying to say, hey, do you believe in miracles? Because this is one we're going to be able to grab, but they have to work quickly, Nation. They cannot allow themselves to let this get into the wee hours of this game, because they might just go night-night and see game 3, 1-1.
Yeah, you can't let Drexel get too big of a lead here, or else you're really in some trouble, serious trouble, rather, that is, as well. As halftime will hit in game number 2 here. Now an open break. Here's 1-1.
Wilds just saw a beautiful pass set up to perfection. A little 1-2 punch there by the teammates, and Kevin overextended. Unfortunately, the third defender coming back just couldn't get there fast enough. But at halftime, we're all tied up.
2:32 to go. Halftime in game number 2. Texas Tech right back to level. Undergoes Bramble. 1-on-1. Down low. No good. A rebound from Wilds. Back to Bramble. As the Red Raider offense trying to work, comes away with nothing.
And that's the last thing you want, is to give up 2 quick goals. If Texas Tech were able to win that 1-on-1 and see this lead change, that's where Drexel's mental is going to be tested the most, besides that skill. But great job for them to be able to contain. That narrative won't be the case, but there's 2 minutes, and Texas Tech, it looks like they're starting to catch for some heat.
The Red Raider defense will the toughest team wins here tonight in the tournament, as Kevin trying to feed something through, and Wilds immediately pouncing on top of the Red Raiders, doing so good so far, but Surf trying to get an opportunity. Back to Kevin, and it's cleared wide left. We maintain a tied score, 1-1, 100 ticks to go and change.
Well, I said, do you believe in miracles? And nobody there on the side of Texas Tech on that defensive front had any sort of boost. What a job of containing themselves, not allowing the pressure to get to them. But you're starting to see things start picking up for the Dragons. They're starting to catch their wings. They're starting to catch flight. But can they get grounded before the end of the regulation?
1:24 left to go. Zerf bumped off. Down low. Kobe fires. It's cleared away by Zerf. Texas Tech a near second opportunity, as one alone is Kevin. And Texas Tech's defense has been aggressive all night long, Wolfie.
And this is where Drexel is just seeing that there's portions where they're going to start getting punished, seeing that they're catching themselves too far out. You're giving Texas Tech too many long clears into your half. It's going to hurt you at some point. Great job there on the last second save there by the Dragons. They're putting up, but can they find a way to close it out? And this one continue to be ammunition at the net for themselves.
And again, Texas Tech's the higher seed, but in a series like this, with against how poised and how successful a roster like Drexel's been across the last 2 years, the Red Raiders feel like an underdog, and they're playing really well.
Well, it doesn't matter when you get in. You can look at the Toronto Blue Jays in the last World Series, last place team to come in, and they saw themselves all the way there at the chip. So you want to get to the show, doesn't matter where you are. All that matters is if you can put up in the big moments, as Kevin puts it down to give the lead.
There's a late lead, 28 seconds. It's Kevin. And Drexel, the Dragons, lead 1. Now Texas Tech under 30 to go. Can they get back to level?
Well, you're starting to feel the electricity. It's one where his team needed some time to get going. But once they got going, they said, we're never going to stop. But last second, that one will not go. What a save here.
Bramble's got to put that one away, Wolfie. If the Red Raiders are going to have a chance here. 13 seconds, and you get a look as good as that, and Bramble bricked it. You had to get that one to fall.
Well, and that could have been the nail in the coffin here late. Last thing you want is for Texas Tech to try to see if they can get a late second goal. You're in 0 seconds. Will it come? May have a chance. This one popped up as Bramble trying to make something out of nothing.
So Red Raiders keep this one alive. 0 seconds. It's coming down. Kevin and Bramble collide there. There's a clear. Wilds back to it. Will force it forward. It's on the ground. The series goes to 1-1.
All right, now everything switches. We're basically at a best of 5 here for the rest of the way through, and that's how they have to look at it. Hey, series 0-0 now. Let's just reset. First game didn't matter, but for Texas Tech, you had a lot of opportunities. There were just moments you weren't able to execute. Great job here for Drexel and be able to cut down almost half of Texas Tech's shots in that last game.
And their defense did a really good job, but Texas Tech's offense, I think you blame more on that game rather than the defense. But their offense created the looks. They had plenty of chances, but couldn't put away anything, important down the stretch there.
Well, and that's kind of the importance of the playoffs. Every possession seems to be crucial, and it can be said right here. If you miss an opportunity to miss 1 or 2 goals, that's going to go back and bite you. But that one, a quick bump, that's going to be able to allow for the first goal and the quickest goal we've seen here in this series.
14 seconds. Kevin a no boost too. That was a really, really easy save if there was no lead blocker. But 14 seconds in, our fastest of the night, and it's a 1-0 lead for Drexel.
Well, there it is. And this is where experience sometimes comes out and beats hunger. It's when you're able to control yourself. But hunger says we want to eat. Bramble says slow it down. We're going to be able to tie it up 1-1.
And Bramble, I think, is a senior in his final year, and again, he's had a multitude of teammates at Texas Tech over the years in CCS. They've always played in the league since Season 2, and he's been with several different teammates, and he's always found ways to win, and you got to respect him, and he's done quite the job tonight so far. He wants 2 here, it's no good.
Oh, man, that's one where you're saying, hey, senior mentality, saying this is my last chance to capture a potential championship or at least move on to the next round. But Zerf said, we've been here before. We know what the environment looks like. We're going to be able to find ourselves our second goal.
4:25, the Dragons back on top by 1. Wolfie, we got a dogfight again here in Game 3.
Well, this is where it is. When you know you're playing against a great team, and think about it, Drexel, they want to be able to continue on their lives. This is not somewhere where they said, we're not a first-round exit type of team. We know what we're capable of, and we want to get back to those same type of aspirations. And this is where you're seeing that grit, that experience. But an open net there off the backboard, will he be able to? With a wild shot.
And those are the shots you got to put away for Texas Tech if you're going to pull this upset off technically over Drexel. And 4:07, you're getting your offense to operate at a high enough efficiency that they're keeping Drexel in a fight here.
Well, and this is where they said, all right, they have one defender back. Oh, well, let's see if we can get a hand in their face. And it just never got enough where he felt that wasn't able to. But four goals, Nation, in the first minute of play. This is series here in game number 3 has just flipped on its head.
Wild, another one. 353. He's got 2.
A little high five there by the teammates saying, hey, good stuff. We're able to continue connecting. And the defense for Drexel, this is the portions where we saw a bit in game number 1 where they overextended. They try to create too much space where they're giving up space to Texas Tech in critical areas.
352. Kevin on the wing here has some help. It's Kobe back to it. 2 commit. Wilds chasing it down. Zerf alone as Wilds puts that one wide right. A minute 18 off the clock, and Wolfie, Texas Tech is fighting tooth and nail here in game 3.
Well, the question is going to be, can you be able to withstand it? We said it, a lot of fireworks tonight. Can you be able to stand up to Texas Tech's offense? And, for Drexel, it's been a lot of methodical plays for himself. The bumps, being able to come and get a couple demos, and, they need to continue going back to that. It's a great job for everyone, especially on off-ball presence. But Texas Tech, they're starting to get their teamwork involved, especially the passing game.
Absolutely, and again, Texas Tech, a quarterfinal exit in the Big 12 tournament. The number 7 Colorado, who went on to win the entire conference, earned a 7th seed and a 16-1 map count across 4 rounds of competition. As 3 minutes remains on the clock in Game 3, the series tied at 1, but a 1-goal affair leads per Texas Tech.
Well, you know what they say, Nation. If you're going to lose to someone who won it all. And this is where they said if we matched up against anyone else, we may have win that game. But this is where they're saying this is our moment right now. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, they've been fighting. And this is where you're looking for that championship mentality. I think they have it, but can they finish the series off? Can they finish this game off and take the lead?
And they've got the grit, and they've got the fight and the dog to compete. And, you know, that's what you got to love here for Texas Tech. No matter, you know, they're a higher seed than Drexel. Yes, is a 7 over a 10. This is not an upset if the Red Raiders win, but it certainly feels like it. That shot is good from Sierra. Hits 3-all.
Well, you talk about the dog. They're saying put him on a leash, put him on a chain. We're going to find our way, continue to mobilize. And look at the confusion there. Just two players in the same area. It's just the mind games of saying, who are they going to give this to? 3-3, they are able to tie it up, but job's not done. This series just feels like that turning point.
Absolutely does, and this is a key moment for Texas Tech in their CCS careers. To again get a big win, and drop down is good for it. 2:10 to go.
Well, you wanted them the mentality, the championship mentality. How about Mamba mentality? Kobe just putting it in the back of the net. What a job, just able to get that bottom right corner, just showing off the excellence right now and saying, hey, I've been in the training packs. I know where to go.
2:08 to go. Syrup on target. It's cleared away by Bramble. And this one cleared away again. Texas Tech, 2-minute warning. Up by 1. Can the Red Raiders hold on?
And it's been one of those games where both these two defenses have just had trouble because the offenses have just been on the other half. And it's where you're starting to see Drexel. Can you be able to play at the speed that Texas Tech is making you? Drexel has been very composed for the most part. They've had the lead. Once Texas Tech starts ramping it up, they're getting shots like that.
Absolutely. Is a minute 38 left to go. And again, you feel like, again, Texas Tech being the, what I would call an underseeded underdog here. But Drexel, again, we know what their accolades are. We know how successful this program has been in years past. And, Texas Tech is doing one hell of a job battling with a really good team across the country.
Well, we said it, top 64 now. Everybody here is good. What's going to make you different? And that right there, continue to fight to the last second, is where this team is trying to get back to. And that is into next week. It's an absolute dog match. You said it. It's two heavyweight teams just throwing knockout blows after knockout blow.
Minute 13 to go. 4-all goes to score. 8 total goals in regulation. Our largest goal count. Our second largest goal count in the game tonight so far through tonight's broadcast.
They're saying, defense may win games, but offenses right now. We're flipping the term. Now it's going to win championships. And, for Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, they have just been able to continue going back after every goal that we've seen Drexel get. Can they do it once again, especially here in crunch time? Will there be enough time for Drexel if they find one more? We're going to see overtime. We'll find out. 42
seconds left to go. Texas Tech hanging on tight here in a 1-1 series, trying to get back to 2-1 in front here. Is again our first swing game in tonight's best of 7 as we're knotted at 1.
And you're starting to feel the intensity. Everyone on the edge of their seats. This game can't be any closer. And it looked like overtime was going to be a prediction, but they're making it worth their while. They're saying, hey, the price of admission may be free, but this is a priceless match. You're watching Texas Tech get 50 there at midfield.
10 seconds left to go. Texas Tech and Drexel all tied at 4. Clock's ticking down. Overtime looming. And it's Kevin across field. Drew will put it back on target. Kevin Durf is there. Will finish it off. And Drexel win in 3.
What just happened? That one in the most anticlimactic ways to win it. But we said it. This is a team that doesn't want to be flashy. They want to be efficient. And they take game 3 now. Drexel in the driver's seat. Do they have enough gas to finish the trip?
Game 3 didn't go their way, but there's still a whole lot of life left. No need to panic if you're the Red Raiders.
Well, the Red Raiders just had to say, hey, get the gap. We gotta get it right now. And, guns up. Let's show up. But, things are different. Things are difficult. This is where I want to see Texas Tech. How are you going to take the first 60 seconds? Nation, we saw 4 goals, technically 5 if you want to add a little bit extra off the clock. But, these two offenses, can they get back to that same type of efficiency, or the defense is going to shine?
And we've seen Texas Tech have, consistent high-level scoring, but when your defense gives up 4 or 5 goals a game, that's when it becomes troublesome, and that's what has unfortunately stung Texas Tech right now in the last 10 minutes.
And this is just where you're trying to say, hey, let's get back to our rhythm. You know, Drexel's a good adaptability team, very smart IQ. You know, you're not going to be able to throw the same thing to them twice and be able to get away with it as effectively. So this is where the creativity has to come in for both these two squads. But for the Red Raiders, they need this first goal.
30 seconds down into regulation here in Game 4. And again, Texas Tech trailing 2-1 after 15 minutes. And Game 3 didn't quite end the way Texas Tech had hoped with a 0-second goal, but they would have liked to have at least seen overtime and a chance to win it. Unfortunately, we're robbed of that now. Game 4, new chance to show some life.
Yeah, and this is where you're saying, hey, we got to have a heartbeat. It's not over. This series is still in the grass. You win this game, all of a sudden things could just turn on its head. Drexel has done a great job of composing themselves, and things are getting tight, but Texas Tech has to continue pressuring them.
Drexel again, the first minute off the clock, still tied at 0. This will be our latest goal yet of this series, the 3:51 mark and counting of the first goal ever waiting here. Is again, pretty solid first minute out of both sides.
And this is where we wanted to see how the minute was going to go. Is it going to continue being as bombastic as we saw? As a big demo blows things up, they said bombastic. Get the cannons. We're going to be able to go through.
As Durf gonna bury the first off a demo. That's a 1-0 lead, a minute 23 into regulation.
Texas Tech, you gotta say no mas right now. You cannot continue letting Drexel punish you on that back line with just aggression. You're putting yourself in a position where they're just continuing to go to that, and they've been able to get it almost every single time they need a bucket.
And they're getting opportunities down low because Texas Tech is making mistakes that they can't afford to have, and Drexel so quick to pounce, and there's a second.
And that at this level of Rocket League, we talked about execution. We talked about being able to take care of mistakes, and Drexel, off the mistake of a small touch of a team bump, find her second goal.
Texas Tech's defense putting a spin cycle there, Wolfie. They were all going in circles trying to make a save there, and Drexel just so quick to pounce off mistakes, and all of a sudden, it was 0-0, 40 seconds to go. Now it's 2-0.
And, you know, as the obvious may stay, but, like, if Texas Tech, if they lose this game, you got to take the entirety of that unofficial timeout. Take the full 60 seconds, get a glass of water, stretch out your hands, and try to see if you can cool down what the Dragons have been able to just breathe, because it's just been breathing fire for them.
Yeah, again, things have not looked well for Texas Tech over the last 3-4 minutes of regulation play from the end of Game 3 to now the beginning of Game 4. The 2-0 lead, as the Red Raiders really need this offense to wake up soon.
And you saw someone in the back line there for Texas Tech. You're seeing them try, but it was just, you overextended a little bit too much. It was a bit too predictable. Drexel saw it the entire way through, but a very smart team here in Drexel. You're starting to see why they've had so much success over the years. Texas Tech, we knew it was going to be one of those games where to be the best, you got to beat the best. And Drexel right now is showing you what it means to be at the top.
2:17 to go. Texas Tech trailing 2 at past the halfway mark. And 2:10 remaining to go. And again, well, just 2 minute warning. I mean, sure, yes, a lot of things have gone wrong defensively, but this is not the same Texas Tech offense that we have seen across the first 2 games. It's 3-0.
Yeah, it seemed to have just slowed down, and this is where you're saying, did you throw everything at them in that last game and did it not work to where you're scratching your head and scrambling to find an answer? One thing for sure, Drexel, they're cool, calm, and collective. They seem so composed right now as they're looking to go up in this series 3-1.
They're doing a stellar job. That's a miss there on the goal line. Yeah. Wild's going to make the save, but Drexel's just getting far too many second and third chances, and Texas Tech just can't respond down the other way of the field here offensively. Their offense has put up nothing in the last 4 or 5 minutes here.
And you looked at game number 1 and how great Texas Tech looked, how fast they were playing, and you kind of have to just say, oh, wow, it took Drexel to get hit in the face for them to be able to say, all right, we woke up now. We know what this team's going to bring out. You just need to be able to play a good team and see where they're at to be able to come back and combat it.
Right, and again, I mean, minute 20 here. At this point in the series, I think the goal becomes one for the road. Now an all-time comeback starting in Game 5 at this point, down 3.
Yeah, and one for the road, and this is where you're saying we just got to refill a tank. Let's stop at the gas station real quick. And it's tough over there for the boys from Lubbock, but for Texas Tech, can you be able to just get one?
1 minute left to go here in game number 4. Texas Tech, at this point, go for one for the road, get some offensive momentum going into game 5, and play with everything on the line, as they're going to be down 3-1 if this one holds.
And this is where you're needing them to just say, hey, what's going to be the difference? You're fighting for the last 30 seconds for morale now. The game's out of the way, but can you do something to say there's some positive in this last one that we can try to go back to? Beautiful bumps there. Just take away an opportunity. Is one more chance here with 30 seconds. Can not get too much of a touch, but we'll just get lofted right back on the Texas Tech side.
20 seconds left to go. Kobe now back across to center. Texas Tech 14 to play. The offense just out of any rhythm here in game 4. Things have really started to go wrong, and we said it earlier on in game 1 that, you know, when playing a team like Drexel, when things start to go wrong, it's hard to claw back out of, and it's Texas Tech feeling that at an all-time high right now. Well,
now for Drexel, the gentleman sweep potential here after losing game 1 have just been perfect. And you know, you saw Texas Tech. They were the team that led in shots and saves. Now Drexel, 2 saves to their name, but coming in here with 9 shots, they are just peppering the side of Texas Tech and saying, hey, our guns are bigger than yours.
The Red Raiders, one last chance to put this offense to work here. When, again, can the Red Raiders win 3 in a row, down 3-1, and force a game 7 and find their way to fight into the round of 32?
Well, we said it. Do you believe in miracles? And you know, for Texas Tech, it's going to have to be that mentality now. It's just saying, hey, we got to go. We get 1 goal, we got to protect that with our life. We can get 2 goals. It's not over. You can't get complacent in a series like this. You know, they come in, 12 seconds remaining there on the clock to see what they decided to talk it with. But I would have loved to see them just take that all the way down until when they had to get into this next game.
Absolutely. And you know, again, now in game 5, it's do or die, win or go home. For Texas Tech, you need 3 in a row, 15 perfect minutes against a really good team.
Well, for Drexel, open net. This one, will it go? Yes, it will. And Texas Tech, in the midst of the beginning of the game, give up a goal here in the first 7.
And that's, you know, we talked about mistakes last game and how they can't afford to have them. Well, this is about as bad as a start to a game you can have for Texas Tech here.
And you know, unfortunately here for the Red Raiders, it just never seemed to get back after that second game. I feel they saw their offense play their best. Drexel right now, they're in their heads.
You can't have that. I mean, again, your defense has fallen apart. Drexel connects on a 1-2 give and go, and 13 seconds in, Wolfie, it is 2-0 in what is considered an elimination game.
And this is where you're hoping for more from Texas Tech right now. You can't tell them to put their guns down. You have to come out shooting, come out firing. But wow, a 2-goal differential here in the first 30 seconds. It's now a ticking time bomb here for the rest of the series.
Absolutely is, and 4:30 left to go. Kobe broken up by Searp. He'll find Zerf. Bramble across, taken away. 4:20 to go in regulation. And Wolfie again, Texas Tech just without an answer. Now Drexel has had 5 unanswered by the Red Raiders.
And I like the pathing that Drexel has been able to do off ball. They've been taking a lot of boost away from Texas Tech, where they've just been able to handcuff their offense and say, hey, you have no boost, you have no offense, and we are going to go and continue doing what we do. Drexel, they got the key, and this one, the door trying to swing all the way open into next week.
4:05 left to go. It's Texas Tech up by 3 at the 1 minute mark, Wolfie. Just one, not even a minute in, it's 3-0. I mean, at this point, what do you do if you're Texas Tech? It's about to be 4-0.
At this point, you might, as much as I never say, it's just say, hey, can we find out with the internet provider over there for Drexel? I think it's at a point where nothing's going to stop them besides the power outage over there. The Dragons right now, they're flying high. This team is ironclad. What a job here. But, you know, in all seriousness, for Texas Tech, man, you just can't put your head down anymore. And it's one where it's easy to get discouraged at this type of ball game. But I feel at the very least, don't get 0 onto the board. Get a goal.
Oh, like Chris Collinsworth for a second. Let me show you a guy that knows how to do it all and get the job done. It's been Zerf tonight and Kevin for this Drexel team. At 3:40 left to go. And You know, Drexel just, again, showcasing why they're one of the best in the country. Despite, how rough of a season they had, they still found their way into the field of 64 as a 10th seed, and they are fighting hard in the opening round. And they could give number 2 Purdue a run for the money as it makes it 5-0, 1 minute 30 in.
Well, we said you want to be able to dominate your opponent when going into the top 32, and they said, hey, it was a struggle for the first couple games, but in game number 5, no struggle here. We're able to continue putting it on.
And they always say the hardest game to win is the game to shut it out. But Drexel is just on a tear right now, minute 30 in, on a game where they can put this series away with a 4-1 victory. With Texas Tech still just, again, 8 unanswered goals for the Drexel Dragons offense.
Yeah, it just seemed that Drexel, they put on the bulletproof vest, and so you're not going to be able to penetrate. We're finding ways to get it done at every angle. And what's been the best portion is, like I mentioned earlier, just low boost here for Texas Tech. You see it, 2 players fighting for 1 boost. That's where your offense is not going to be able to fly.
With nothing, trying to find a way to get through this Drexel defense. Kobe, a full tank, goes under, trying to get around 2. It's no good. Half the game almost elapsed here, and the Red Raider offense still held to nothing, Wolfie, and it's just been all bad news bears for Drexel at 6-0.
Well, this is where you see Drexel, they use that aggression, that speed that Texas Tech was throwing out in the first couple games against them. They're saying how you can't be fast without boost, and coming in, putting them in bad situations, down 0-6. This is where, at the very least, you're hoping for a quick trip to Brazil, but for Texas Tech, that 1 goal doesn't sound too bad.
2:30 left to play here, game 5. Texas Tech are going to need a miracle and a comeback that is a testament of time and probably CCS history forever if they pull this one off. It's 2:20 left to go. The Red Raiders need 6 in the final half.
No, they need this is where they need a Patty Mahomes miracle now. Is just say, hey, can we find a way to get it done in the second half? And if they find it now, it's going to say a lot about the program. But the program continue to stay whole. Wow, a last-second goal that seemed to be slightly off will be able to not see itself in the backfield for Texas Tech.
Well, I'm afraid there's no zebras on the field right now to save the team in red, Wolfie. There's a minute 50 left to go, and Drexel just utter domination.
I think this is where you're kind of just saying, hey, too much aggression right now here from Drexel. And for Drexel, they made Texas Tech put their head on a swivel with those bumps and demos. They made them feel uncomfortable where, with low boost and also someone in the back of your neck just saying, hey, I'm right behind you. You slow down an inch, you're going to be able to come off for a couple of seconds. And for the Dragons, they got the job done. It doesn't matter what seed you come into the playoffs, all that matters is you get here.
Minute 20 left to go here. Granville left alone, where the Red Raiders still need 6 in the last 75 as Wilds putting that one off the mark towards the corner. And you hate to see a team go out like this, Wolfie. And you had a really good season. You opened things up hot in this round of 64. The first 3 games were honestly really, really good. But then it just all got really cold in game 4, and it just continued to go down south for the Red Raiders. And you hate to see a season end like that.
Yeah, you said it to, like, you hate seeing a team kind of put this type of performance in the back of the games, but being able to get here is no slouch. Top 64 is a improvement into itself. It's one where you have to look at and say, hey, I know we wanted more, but we're still one of the best teams in this nation. Top 64 is nothing to say we're slouches, but I know this team had more aspirations for themselves. Final 30 seconds to see what they're made out of.
Absolutely, and again, this is their first time ever in the tournament, so they're going to get the experience they need, come back strong in the spring, and maybe they'll make a run again. But 7-0 is served. Makes it, that should wrap things up here. 20 to go. Drexel, I think it's more than safe to say and assume that Drexel is going to survive and pull the upset. They're on the round of 32 next Friday.
And now for Texas Tech, let yourself go into the offseason with this. Let this fuel you for next season, and just say we got demolished at the end. And you see a final second goal. Will it go? Bags are packed. Luggage is in. Flight is ready. That's going to take us to Brazil.
7-1, 14 seconds left, and is Texas Tech one goal to avoid the final score being in Brazil?
At this point, I might just say, let's do it. But, the way Drexel's playing, they might just say, hey, we didn't like Brazil too much. Maybe we'll go to Barcelona. But we'll see where Texas Tech, let's see if you can get one yourself.
7-1 is scored. Syrup wants one more. He's got one here in games 5. It's this one will come to a close, ladies and gentlemen. Number 10, Drexel, pulls the upset, knocks off number 7, Texas Tech. They're through to next Friday's round of 32.
Drexel saying, hey, number 10, let's take away the 0. We're number 1 right now. That's all that matters. But what a game. You come in and the execution for themselves, 10 shots, 7 goals, be able to shoot 70% is where you're wanting to be. But, oh man, Kevin, he went off this game to start things off. It seems that he just took the controller and just said, hey, I want to take this series by the horns, or technically by the guns here for Texas Tech, and say, why are you pointed at you?
Absolutely. Well, everybody, thanks for joining us. We'll be back here in about 15 minutes for number 7 Washington State, number 10 Weaver State. But until then, we'll see y'all soon.